One day a baby roach asked his dad, "What happens when we get sprayed by Raid?" And Papa Roach responded, "Suffocation. No breathing." Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Zareth Prevails. Woo! Already, the clamber of pitchforks and torches are sounding because CG has made some kind of announcement. So we're going to talk about that, and let's look at the actual thing that they said because that seems important. So that'll be fun. I was gonna make another raid video actually, and then I was like, well, maybe not. I don't know. I mean, I made this. I suppose I will. Let's find out if I need to make this again. Fun times. Huge shout out to my patrons, by the way. You guys are awesome. I couldn't do this without you. I'm sure it gets old having someone like me sing your praises, but you guys are awesome, and I appreciate all of you, every single one of you. And if you want to support this channel for free, please like, subscribe, comment, mount yonder algorithm, please. And if you want to get your roster reviewed or roasted, or if you want to have your guildmates roster roasted, I kind of need their permission, honestly. But if you want to do something like that, hit me up on Discord, guys. This is the last month I do it at this price. It's been a very popular thing, actually. I've been very humbled by how many people are interested, and I think so far people have really appreciated the level of depth that I've gone into and detail that I've gone into their roster. So get yours today. It'll only last through July of 2025, folks. And that is let's talk now. Let's talk about this new raid. So Meatface put out a thing talking about raid bugs and observations. Of course, the raid has only been out for what, a week? You'd think I would know, but I don't know yet. But yeah, most people have had the opportunity to participate in the new raid, and the Order 66 raid, the one with pirates, of course. And so they have some things that they're talking about. I guess before we dive into that, though, let's just say, let me just say a couple things about the current raid. Here, hold on. Let's see, is this... hold on. Alright, so we'll just have this going on in the background while I yammer on for just a minute. The new raid seems to address a lot of issues that people had with the old raid. Now, I'm not the best spokesperson for this raid, or people representing people in the Naboo raid, because I tended to not have problems with it, even on my alt. I understood the teams, I understood what was needed, and once CG fixed some of the really huge errors, I just never had issues. I had to reset like twice total, so I didn't really care about Naboo raid wasn't hugely frustrating. However, I can acknowledge that a lot of people had legitimate concerns and frustrations with it, and this new raid seemed to address a lot of those concerns, such as the RNG factors that are involved in raids like this, where you're just able to immediately, I should say, you want to immediately know if you need to restart, because frankly it was atrocious in the last raid, in any of the raids, where it's like, well, you rely on some RNG, but the RNG isn't for like 5 minutes into the raid. It can be really frustrating when you're like, man, I've gotten like 7 bad starts, but that's like 5 minutes in each time, and that's like half an hour of 0 progress in a thing you don't even want to do in the first place. This new raid appears to have a ways around that RNG. Like, you still have the RNG, but it's front loaded, right? So like the toughest wave is at the very start, and you can find out if like some of the current new raid comps require you to do an extra, like do a certain move, or it requires your opponent characters to do a certain move, then if they don't do it, you can just hit the reset button because it's at the very start. It's front loaded. People have also really enjoyed how little time it takes to do attacks, which I agree. It's like, oh, hey, it's over pretty quick, instead of sometimes taking 10 minutes per run or something like that. So things that I didn't necessarily mind personally, I think a lot of people did mind a lot, and they didn't like it. And so I think CG did a great job. At least on the surface level, it looks like CG did a great job of listening. They're like, okay, you want to spend less time on the raid? Great. We'll do that. We'll get that for you. And you want a reduction in RNG. You want to make it a little easier to be able to run some of these teams. Like, we'll make it easier to tell if a raid is an attack is going poorly. We're going to fix that. Like, you're going to be able to quit and restart right away. So I think initially most people had pretty good thoughts on the new raid. I think most people were like, yeah, this is good. This is solid. You know, it seemed good to me. I think the biggest complaint is still that a lot of the teams are very paywalled. And a lot of the teams aren't even part of the raid. Yeah, like we have 2 full teams of like that haven't been added to the game yet. Like, they're not even in the game. They're never mind the raid itself. So yeah, there's still some complaints. There's some bumps, but it does seem like we're like this. It seems a lot of people just have been overall pretty pleased. And the biggest guilds who were previously getting top crate are able to get top crate again, because you can split the teams. Like, you don't have to, you can just, there's a team with Tarkin plus like Scorch, I think. And that's it. You can get max banners or max points, whatever, with that team. And granted, you have to have Scorch, who's not even farmable yet, but once you do have him, it's a pretty nice split. You can use clones to get a bunch of points in the raid. So let's look at this with all of those things in mind. Let's take a look at this awesome post. And there is awesome. There are awesome elements. So let's get into it here, folks. Okay, so they've enjoyed watching us dive into Order 66. So there's a few things. There's a few bugs that they've found, which, I mean, let's just not even talk about bugs. Okay, can we just skip talking about bugs? Like, I'm done with the bug discussion. I'm done with it. We'll just go round and round and round and round and round, and we'll just go crazy from it. I'm going crazy just thinking about going crazy about it. So here's some observations they wanted to make us aware of. First off, the undersized teams. Order 66 raid description and modifiers indicate that undersized teams get penalized for bringing in less than 5 characters in an attempt. The team is evaluating whether the current penalty is reflective of the balanced expectation of the raid for the higher modifier tiers. So they're wondering if splitting the teams, like taking smaller teams, is actually penalizing us enough. And so should we be earning the number of points that they wanted us to? I think it's think of the knee-jerk reaction, folks. I'm not defending them here, I promise, but I guess you just think, we're all human, right? And what if you designed something and you're like, dude, this is awesome, this is balanced, this is going to be fun, people are going to bring the whole clone team with Tarkin for some reason. Tarkin's going to hang out there. They're all going to fight Lord Vader and save Jedi together. It's going to be great. They're all going to hold hands while they do it. It's going to be wonderful. And then someone's just like, you know what if I just bring Tarkin and Scorch? I would imagine that as a developer, you're like, what about the other clones? The other people are like, well, we'll take those clones and they take another max team, and we'll just do 2 max teams with the clones. And in fact, we're not even going to hold hands. Like, I would imagine the initial reaction from the devs would be something like, that's not how it was designed. We didn't want it to be like that. I would imagine. we're going to return to this. This is really probably the biggest thing that people, there's a lot of feelings going on here. And honestly, I think a lot of people have very legitimate concerns. We'll talk about it though. Okay, disguise clone troopers, clever ruse, does not grant 20% turn meter at the proper time. Okay, so that they're gonna fix that. That's cool, I guess. Damage over time stacks from DCT are disguise clone trooper are triggering whenever the unit performs an ability instead of the start of turn. And they'll be fixing it. So another bug, Order 66 raid pirate modifier. This one, it kind of gets me like really happy. It makes me like the happiest. A reminder that the pirates and their modifier are still undergoing testing. Okay, let's just assume that they do test. Let's stop. Let's not go down the road of CG doesn't test, because it clearly tests some. Maybe not the way we want it to. It probably doesn't have the impact that we think it should. But let's leave that alone. They do test a little bit. So we started the modifier in a decent place with room to grow, and the team is likely going to buff the current pirate modifier to be more beneficial for all new pirates. Yar! Or gar, you know what I mean. So, I think this is just the thing that gives me the biggest bad attitude about, like, the most frustration about this is, like, they're just releasing teams that aren't part of the raid. Like, fully 2/5 of the intended teams to play in this raid are just not being released. I mean, they're not being used on release. Like, and now we find out that they're not even done testing. We don't even know their place in the raid. They don't even know these pirates' place in the raid. I mean, the pirates are already confused as to why they're in the middle of this crazy, Sith / clones versus Jedi massacre. Like, the pirates are like, why are we here? And the Bad Batch is like, we had tried to ask that, we don't know either. But let's assume that they belong here. I just the fact that even CG doesn't know that the pirates, like, their place is a little, it's a little. I mean, I was already annoyed a little bit, and it adds a little annoyance. They're like, hey, you want me to make you happier? I'm like, no, I want you to annoy me more. They're like, okay, no worries. We'll do that. Keller and Beck. We've observed that Keller and Beck is really good. And they're monitoring, and while we're monitoring their progress, our current status is to not intervene, but to keep monitoring it. We'll keep eyes on, and we feel this starts to get out of hand. We'll talk about this later, too. Captain Ithano, they're going to make him better. Cool. That'll happen later. There's a raid bug with Fox, so they're going to fix that. It's a bug. They should fix that. Bad Batch modifier. It's a reminder that there's an issue where the final tier Bad Batch modifier is applying to all tiers. This will be fixed and will only be applied to tier 7. Cool. Okay, so really the one thing that a lot of people are having big feelings about, and I get it. People are afraid. Kelleran Beck is a badass. He's doing great. He's the best Jedi. And undersized teams are going to, they're doing a little less, a little bit more than people think that they should. Well, the developers think that maybe they should. And okay, so during my stream earlier tonight, a lot of people said, hey, they're gonna do this, they're gonna do that. Like, tons of people were speculating, but they were kind of presenting it as facts. And I don't know what my fellow content creators have presented to people. I have no idea. I really don't. My guess is a lot of people are just assuming the CG's just not the benevolent overlords that we were hoping for. And that they stumbled into being awesome by accident. The raid is awesome. Don't let them change it. Oh, they're gonna change it because it's awesome. And of course they can't let the player base have awesome things. I suppose I can understand that reaction. Here's the things that I guess my points here. So I don't want the Keller and Beck team to be worse, and I just made a video about it. I'd rather not have to make another video about it or have to try harder with a Keller and Beck team. I would rather not. Please don't make me. Um, I would rather just be able to have all the teams, like farm all the the current teams and be done. We could just get max crate and or whatever it's called and be done. I would prefer that. And I think that CG moving the goalposts would be a remarkably crappy thing for them to do. I would really prefer them not to do that. However, they're not saying that they're going to. They send out all kinds of fun things. Like there's a whole meme about like, hey CG, say the thing, because they're constantly saying like, hey, we're monitoring this thing because we think it might be overpowered. And then most of the time they just don't fix it. They don't do anything because it turns out it's not overpowered. Sometimes they do jump in and fix it, and sometimes we get mad about that. But just because they said that they're monitoring it doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean that they're actually, that means they're monitoring it. That means that they might change it. We don't know. And, you know, I want things to be the way they are. I don't want them to change it. And, you know, I hope they don't. However, CG isn't saying that they are changing it. And frankly, I prefer it if they just tell us that they're monitoring it. I prefer to know what's on their mind. Like, wouldn't it be nice to have some kind of warning as opposed to just them arbitrarily changing it immediately? Like, what if they had just knee-jerk reactioned this thing? Like I said before, the developers were probably like, dude, not cool. I didn't want them to use Tarkin plus Scorch to get 3.6 million points. That makes sense to me that they wouldn't necessarily like expect that or want to. So of course they're gonna take a closer look. Are they gonna change it? Maybe. I don't know. I hope not. But I don't think. I guess what my final point is, I guess I don't have the patience or the lack there. I just don't. I don't have the wherewithal, the desire to get all angry about CG like inevitably changing things and being total jackholes when we don't know that they are. And honestly, their actions in the past have not really indicated that this is going to be immediately nerfed in the player's worst interest. I hope it's not. I'll feel frustrated if they do. But right now, I guess I just don't feel like I need to just sit here and be angry. So, I don't know. I guess let's just wait. Maybe be patient. I don't know. It's a tricky thing, of course. We all want to know what teams to work on and what things to mod. We want to know what to expect as players. I get it. I want to know too. But at least we know something's going on. It's nice to know. I would rather them tell us than just clam up and just arbitrarily change stuff. So I guess let's just keep monitoring it and hope they don't make a stupid decision. It seems like they're at least thinking about it as opposed to knee-jerking it, which is nice. So I'm going to let you go, guys. Thank you for listening to my ramble. Thank you so much for watching. And remember that in all things, Zareth prevails. Take care, folks.